Next Fest has come to an end, and with every Next Fest, it always seems to be among the thousands of games that are there for every Next Fest and all these demos. There's a select few that get noticed and get the attention, but there's a whole bunch that get kind of buried in the masses. And my goal with this video is to show off some of the ones that I have found that didn't get any attention that I thought were really good games and worth attention. So that's today's plan for this video, and we're going to start in space with Dead Reckoning: The Long Drift. This is a Siege Ship inspired game, if you played Siege Ship a long time ago, where you are a colony ship. You've got 1,000 souls on board your ship, and the goal is, after 100 years or so, or however long you are out there in space, is to keep the people alive, keep the ship afloat with fuel in the hull and food, of course, keep your colonists alive, but also you are also managing where the ship is flying. You're sending out probes to explore explore space and sort of narrative strategy thing. And also, in addition, there's also a whole bunch of like morality questions and morality play type of things that's going along with this colony ship drifting through space, and what choices you make along the way, and how it changes your ship. Do you survive when you land on the planet? How is your colony planned out, and all of that? It's a pretty neat game. I played the demo. This one actually is in demo form right now, and actually comes out here on the 25th of June, so it'll be here very soon for the full version. But the demo was great, and I think it definitely needs some attention. If you're into these sort of choose-your-own-adventure, a lot of text-based, but running a terminal type of thing. Next up, we have a weird one. Welcome to Elderfield. This is, if you were to take something like Stardew Valley, farming sim, happy, cozy, RPG kind of thing, and then throw it into like a Lovecraftian town where there are old gods around, there's creatures just kind of creeping out through the woods, the mall is filled with monsters. That's what you get with Welcome to Elderfield. You're just out there living your life, building your little farm, doing your farm and life sim things. But there's terrifying creatures out there, and it seems to be pretty sandboxy. How much you want to dive into that? Do you want to like become a god or whatever yourself, or do you just want to farm some wheat? It seems to be pretty open, and also meet the villagers, the weird villagers of town. This one's weird, and I play a lot of these games that are very similar to like Stardew Valley. There's been a lot of Stardew Valley clones out there, and to find one that takes Stardew Valley and like really twists it, literally, this one stood out to me as a good one. Next up, we got Crownhold. This is an incremental kingdom builder, and with all incremental games, you start out with your little town hall or your town castle, and you slowly click your way through collecting resources. Then you build your monastery to click up some books for some research. Then you build your barracks, and you kind of build your town as you go, as with any incremental game. However, when you upgrade your town, it sort of zooms out with each stage. And so you start at a pretty small scale, and you go into more colony-wide things. You're putting in docks. You're sending out sailing ships to go explore. It zooms out more, and you got more islands to discover. You got other kingdoms out there in the world. And then you go to war, and you start building military and catapults and besieging your enemy. So it really scales big once it gets going. And I thoroughly enjoyed the demo. I think it needs more attention, and that's what this video is all about. This is by Tobias Mikula, and it's supposed to be coming out here in July for the release. So we have much longer to wait for this one either. With all of these, as of the time of the recording this, the demos are still available. So I'm not sure how long they're going to stay around, but the Next Fest is officially over, and they're still here. So hopefully they stick around a little longer. Next up, we got Hexiv, or Hex4? I think it's Hexiv. This is, you're landing on an alien world, and in this board game, turn-based strategy style, you are playing out cards, laying down cornfields and sawmills and things, and collecting resources. You're sending out your adventurers, your units, basically your pieces, to go explore and harvest the materials to eventually build up your ship to go and bounce to the next island. Kind of this island hopping but hostile alien planet thing. The thing that really stands out with this one is the pixel art. Pixel art is great. It's got a good gameplay loop because you go through one island. About the time you get done exploring that one island, you hop onto the next island for new things and new terrible things trying to chew on you. And then pixel art. I got to mention the pixel art. Looks good, but it's by Graham Little here, and coming out sometime this year with a demo, of course, is still here on Steam. I mentioned weird before with Elderfield. Well, now we're getting extra weird. This is Khaldun is the name of it. Khaldun text-based strategy. This is a text-based 4X, like grand strategy game where you are running your kingdom in this. If you played War Sim, then you know what you're getting into with this one. if you're not familiar with War Sim, it's like an old-timey kingdom managing game. It's all text-based. People come to your throne room, you tell them what you want, what you don't want, and you slowly build up your food and keep your people alive and take, all the kingdom management stuff that's in there. But then you also go to war, and it plays out like in this ASCII style of war game when you go into combat. I mean, it's mostly an auto battle kind of thing, but you're raising your army up, your warriors and your cavalry, and then you have to watch them fight in this ASCII style of text-based kingdom manager. Weird game, but my kind of game by Skywolf here. Next up, we got Fleetlord. This is one of those, I'm sure there's a name for this. They call it an RTS. It's a simple RTS, a fast-paced RTS, where you've got these little points, point-based RTS, I suppose, and you're grabbing these planets, and we've seen a bunch of these before. You and your different opponents are grabbing different planets. These planets all have different resources, and you kind of feed those resources back into your homeworld or whatever to create more fleets. And each planet that you grab, each satellite planet, is going to have a different resource or maybe some sort of boost or something that's going to help you out along the way. But you're just, fast-paced, point-based RTS style of thing, and you're trying to conquer the planets. But there's just the reason this one stood out to me is because, I have played a lot of these type of games. This one stood out as there is a lot of depth to it once you get going. It's not just click and drag, over and over again, and just slowly swarm the enemy because you got more units. There's a lot of stuff to it as you grab the planets and the rewards you get from those planets that help trade those and transfer those over to your other colonies to build up your bigger. It's a interesting version of these point-based RTSs, which I'm sure there's a name for it. If you know it, tell me what it is. But Fleetlord by Infinity 9 Studios. Speaking of the old Lovecraftian thing, we're going to Shoretiles, and maybe I've got a thing for games that seem calm and happy, but actually are kind of gloomy. Shoretiles is you're building a little town around a fragile lighthouse in these sort of Islanders puzzle style of games. You kind of build your little island around your lighthouse by adding in trees and whatever else to get points to build it up. But at night, they will rise from the depths. And, tentacles and creepy things are going to walk on there, and they're going to start chewing on your town. So you got to not only build your cozy little town, you got to fight off against the terrible things that are out there. And keep your lighthouse lit, because if it doesn't stay lit, then the evil things, I guess, they get hungrier. I don't know, interesting take on the cozy tile layer builder game. Times of Progress is a city builder set in the Industrial Revolution. So in that style where you're placing down, you put a lumber mill in the trees, which gives you lumber, of course. You put a coal mine in the mountains. This one has that as well. The people move into your town, and the houses sort of generate and populate wherever they want. But your job is to sort of manage the automation and work that whole system, laying tracks down, of course, getting trains going. It also has this, it follows real world timelines. So the steam engine and steel and all those sort of things that kind of come along the way, they start mostly, you can adjust it a little bit, popping up in the time that they happened in real life. And so it's kind of a neat historical themed city builder, and set in the Industrial Revolution, which we don't see a ton of those. Typically, we either get before that or after that. So it's neat to see a game that kind of fits in that late 1800s, around that time frame there. By Pressing Thumbs Games for this one. The next two here were actually not on Next Fest, but they had demos that were around the same time, and I want to highlight them. We got A Little Age here, which the big highlight, or one of the big games from Next Fest, was County of Fortune, which is sort of thing where you build multiple settlements, and you're building a county. And you've got the farming town, you've got the mining town, you got the wood town, and they kind of all work together, building these trade networks. Well, this one is that as well, just in a little more simplified version by Benero. And this demo came out back in February, but it's the same thing. You're building a network of settlements. You've got your farming town, you've got your lumber town, you've got your ore town, and you're working all the trade networks between those. And similar idea of County of Fortune. So if you liked County of Fortune and you're familiar with that one, then you may like this one as well. And of course, you're building like a big wonder. And there's exploration and all that stuff in there. But, that one I thought is something to keep an eye on if you're into those kinds of multi-settlement builder things. The last one is Shipolis. Shipolis is a minimalist city builder with resource management game. You are a ship, in an archipelago, and your job is to bounce from point to point, from town to town in this archipelago, picking up resources, hauling them to other places to build up those nodes, those spots. So similar to the last one where you're building multiple towns, each island has different resources. And so you'll have like a lumber island, you'll have an ore island, you'll have a stone island, and you're kind of working all those things. You can put houses in each of these places and build up each of them. And eventually you can get to where you're building like trade networks and setting up this big archipelago of cities. This one is also a little bit of a cheat because it's not a demo. It is in playtest, an open playtest right now, and that link is on the Steam page. I think they also have it on itch.io if you want to download it from there. But it is definitely still in active development and early development. And a fun little trading ship city builder. I wouldn't call it a city builder. Archipelago managing game by Radiant Sloth. But there you go. There is, I think it was like 10 or 11 games that I found that I missed before my first video, and I discovered them through Next Fest here, and I wanted to highlight them because there's so many games. There was like 4,000 games this year, this time on Next Fest, and we get maybe like 100 of them. I keep getting recommended over and over again, and the rest of them just get buried. And I've done my best to try to find some of those that have gotten buried and deserve some attention. So there's my list. If you found some other games that you didn't get any attention, let me know. Those are the kind of games I like playing. So put them in the comments, and I will check them out. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.